Okay. Y'all are gonna have to let me know how this sounds, because we're trying something new-ish today. I mean, it is new. Let's be real honest here. It is something new. Alright, can I bribe Susie? She knew I was thinking of her. She knew that bribery was what I wanted. She knew that she could be convinced. Alright, so. Okay, y'all. I keep finding a bunch of stuff that I apparently just threw on the floor while I was last sewing. It is very, very funny how much I've apparently been not keeping track of. Alright. Let me on this camera a second. Hopefully this is all gonna work as intended. Also, I forgot to do some things, like just a good life. So, we're gonna do that right now. Hopefully. So, let us not invert to just try to have the camera I want. It will! Oh my god, there's a light behind me though. Whoops, sorry y'all. No. Yeah, that was Susie. Susie has arrived. Hello. Let's see. Mike looks okay. Y'all tell me if that's not the case. While I attempt to let's see. What am I doing today? I'm like, what are words? February, mic test. There we go. I'm like, what am I doing? Who knows? Well, first off, I'm not spelling Twitch correctly, so that's going great. There we go. Well, I just don't know how to type apparently. Cool. Here we go. Hey, Leaf, welcome in. I forgot to run my ads, so real quick, when I know that Leaf is here, we're gonna cheat. And why is all of my technology currently not cooperating? Okay. Yes, new mic who dis. And I just realized that, like, I put my light directly behind me. This is fine. Everything is perfectly fine. Let me know what the sound balance is like, because I definitely think it's going to be a trial and error with the mic volume. I did a couple of recordings as tests, and think I got it to a mostly okay spot, only tweaks a little bit, but if the music is too loud, or you think that, I can balance it differently, please let me know. You're just struggling with me right now. I also absolutely broke something on my stream, or on the back end of stuff, but it's fine. It's totally cool. A streak happened! Yay! Hopefully a completely consensual, not problematic streak. I'll have to update my... Make a note, y'all, that I need to update my tack. I'll add it to my things for today. Sorry, let me move my mouse out of the way. Let me put this light someplace else and then turn it on. So that y'all get the light without necessarily, well, that's terrible. That's not so terrible. But yeah, let me know how the audio is. Y'all know that audio is definitely one of the final bosses. So real quick, let's talk about things. Besides how absolutely terrible my lighting is. We'll just pretend that lighting is not terrible. But yeah, so real quick, I'm just gonna go through a list of things. This is an impromptu random stream tonight, because I was like, oh, I kind of want to like wrap up January, perhaps some February stuff, what have you, and that felt like something that would be worth doing from a planner and journaling standpoint. So we're gonna kind of look at a couple things that I've done, talk about some of the things that I've purchased, and then wrap all of that up. Current plan, pending nothing going completely sideways, is that I will still stream tomorrow evening, and we're going to continue on with Detective Pikachu, which we will hopefully maybe finish? Maybe? Who knows? But yes, so that'll be tomorrow. I don't know if this stream's going to go particularly long, but we will see how well I do in terms of just how long it takes me to get stuff done, what have you. And then, of course, besides the Thursday stream, I will be back on Proxipore Thesmophoria's channel on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern for us to continue our misadventures in the Mass Effect universe. So sorry as a Solarian, y'all. Like, I wasn't planning for chaos, but chaos happened. So, you know, these things happen. So we're gonna get right into journaling. I've moved a bunch of things around, so let's swap over to our crafting POV. And we can get started, because there's a lot going on here, y'all. Once again, please let me know how my family always waits until right as I'm going live to decide that they need to just text me endlessly, and it is mighty frustrating. Also, I'm really annoyed because the lighting behind me was perfect, but it's behind the camera, so obviously, like, I don't have a green screen. I can't do the lighting and also hide it from you all, which is super, super frustrating, because it looks so good over here. But yes, so, real quick, because I'm that type of nerd, I wanted to show off the dice making journal that I went ahead and sorry, the camera's just gonna, this other camera's gonna be in frame. Because that's just how it is. Trying to give myself like decent lighting, and I'm just making everything worse. I will. But yeah, I made a little dice making record book. So I swapped over all my notes. I was putting them into a random notebook, and it was kind of running out of space. So I ended up doing a whole mix of. Hey DC, welcome in. Actually, I'm realizing. Hold on, y'all. Let me adjust. Pardon while I move things, so that I can adjust where my light is sitting, hopefully to better effect for all of you. But welcome in! Also, you can see I have a bunch of really, really adorable little doggo minis now, thanks to the painting pirate. And so you can see a little bit of my army of doggos here on the light stand. But yeah, that went really loud. Please give me feedback, because I need to, on mic as we go. I'm gonna adjust it down just a little bit, so hopefully it won't peak like that again, even if I get a little loud. So yeah, so back this a little bit. So I decided to move my dice making notes over. I like to keep track of them so I can learn and figure out what worked, or if I want to replicate a look that I had. And then I was like, well, why not make it pretty? So I pulled out some of my washi tape and markers, and I did put the notes in, but then I also did a whole lot else. So this is now my dice making record, y'all. Notes from all 13 sets of dice that I've made so far. which, why does the music seem so loud right now? I feel like the music levels are a little... Y'all let me know if the audio balance is okay. DC, I broke StreamerBot. And by broke, I mean I somehow managed to delete it off my computer. Don't ask me how. And I reinstalled it, but now everything I did to it is gone. So that's a problem for future Mandy. So I'll just I'll just do things like do my own shoutouts. But not like that. There we go, like that. Yeah, I don't know how that happened or what I was doing, but it happened, so fun times. DC is great, and DC and I got to chat sewing and tech things recently on YouTube, which I should make a command for. Let's just, do I have sticky notes here? Question 1. Somewhere I should have sticky notes. I have many, yes, I do. Look at that. Let's sticky note for a moment. So what did we say we needed to do? So, Tech Friday command. StreamerBot setup. I'm gonna mark it as resetup. There was something I was like, oh, I should remember that earlier, or I should remember that for later. I'll write it down, and then I absolutely forgot it. So who knows what that was? That I said, oh, update gear panel. Keeping track of my things, for myself. So, as mentioned, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore, y'all. I'm sorry. But yeah, so we had our, wherever I just, no clue where I just put that, so I'm a human disaster, y'all. I was looking for sticky notes. I closed up whale. Guess I'll find it. Aha. We're gonna go put this away right now. It's gonna go in the bin with all of the dice making supplies. But yes, so if you can't tell, I'm now wearing a wireless mic. It's not technically a lab mic, it's just a wireless mic. So this is the original Rode Wireless. They do now have an updated, I don't want to say better tech, but version 2.0, the Rode Wireless 2, that I got thanks to, slightly, so I'm a little bit more in frame, sorry about that. That I got thanks to... Alright, oil. There we go. We barely begun Nightbot. Take a break. But I will hydrate things. So this is the original Rode Wireless. So I have a clip on myself. I have a little transmitter, which is off to the side that y'all can't see. It's plugged into my computer. And once I figured out how to correctly plug it in, it was very, very easy to set up and get working. And now it's just going to be a continued process of refining how the audio sounds. So of course, please give me feedback on balance between music and voice. If the voice is peaking too high, if y'all are getting too much weird, I don't know, noise. I did put in some filters to try and take out the worst of what you all would typically get in the background, including my music. Because I also have it playing on the speakers, because guess what, y'all? Now that I'm not having to wear a headset so y'all can have a mic when I'm over here, I'm so excited for when I'm sewing. Y'all, I'm so excited for when I'm sewing. But now that I don't have to wear the headset, that means I can run my music through the speakers, and I don't have to have all this stuff up and in my way, which I'm super stoked about. So, showed you just a quick little, it makes me happy, look at the, my dice making notebook now. So I think I've talked about it, and I believe, shared a little bit on stream with DC when we did our Tech Friday. But I have 2 planners and an extra notebook. And by planners, it's not technically planners. This is my Hobonichi, Techo planner. And then the Dead Island book is actually my reading journal. So we're gonna kind of do a couple notes, try and wrap up the month here. Just check and make sure that I've covered everything and kind of put in my thoughts and feelings and what have you for the day for today. In January, we'll take a look at what I have kind of marked out on my calendar across month, weeks, and days for February to make sure I've copied in everything that I know so far. And then we will go into the reading journal, the zombie reading journal, and start taking a look. I don't have anything additional to add for my books. There's still some empty pages. Don't mind those, or ones that I haven't quite filled in yet. So start kind of filling some things in, and we'll kind of round up the numbers I have. Maybe potentially do a little bit more in regards to some of the blank pages that I just haven't gotten to yet. We'll see how that goes. But mostly sort of wrapping up December. Wrapping up December. I've made it a totally different month, y'all. Wrapping up January and doing anything I want to put in for February. And then I'm just putting it here because I might use it for some test things. This is a Twitch notebook. That was not intentional. But I've been using it to do, some, like, messing around with washi tape and markers and stuff to, like, test out some looks and stuff that I could include in a oh, hold on. There we go. That I would be able to include in my actual journaling. Oh, your Hobonichi Rock Saturday? Yes. And then I'm going to show off a whole bunch of stuff in addition to that. So first off, after some additional purchases, because of course I have a wide variety of these, Tombow, dual brush markers, which have more of a, that was not the best color to choose. Let's choose something different. Here we go. So you can see, like, kind of the larger brush that I've been using for headers and filling in. And then on the opposite side, it's more of a fine little nub that you can write, like, closer to a regular pen, like. So, I picked, they're all mixed up now, but I had, one selection that was, I believe this group, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, which was from the Galaxy set. And then I picked up a set that's more for portrait drawing, but I liked the idea of having browns and stuff because that would match well with some of the washi tape that I have. So I'm also apparently really bad at putting my lids on since they keep falling off. I have a bunch of little washi. So smaller washi. So like put in little 5mm pinstripe like ones. I have one that's weather. I have a bunch of miscellaneous other ones. I have one that's flowers. These are actually little stickers and things like that. I have the same for some nice little watercolor like dots. So those are like my small washi. And then I also have in this box a whole bunch of larger washi. These are the ones that I got from the washi tape shop, so can recommend. So I'll be working on and off with some of those, and then I have a little 3-binder super pouch, pouch full of so many stickers. There's also my stencils and things in here. There's some really good ones. So, when I talk about needing to figure out storage, this is what I mean. I have a pouch I have a little weird cardboard boxy thing with washi. I have the shipping package still with washi. I actually have a legitimate pencil case where my actual pens and stuff are. So my regular pens and highlighters and things are here, including a mix of, like the Sakura Micron Pigmas, or Sakura Pigma Microns, and the, Prismacolor equivalents, what have you, so that I can do a variety of different things here. So I think, because I kind of anticipate it taking a little bit longer, you're going to start with my actual planner. So I can show you all real quick a couple of things. First, I have my mix of stickers here. You saw the Prioritize Mental Health and the Gentle Reminders one any previous stream. Quick, I'll just run through the gentle reminders because I do like what they say. So remembering that your work is not your worth, that you can do hard things, but you don't need to do all of the things, which I think a few of us could stand to remember. Cough, cough myself. Then we have, enjoying your life is not selfish, always a good reminder. You have nothing to prove and no one to impress. Only you can define your own success. Very important. You deserve deep rest, and joy, and love, and healing. And then I have from my Kickstarter, I have a like pet themed stickers, and this one is my paw. Possibilities are endless. So I've just like been accumulating some of like the stickers that I find to be very good for, good for themes. And then I have another one over here. Be not afraid of going slowly, be afraid only of staying still. So, I have a mix of those. So a couple of things. If you all, I know we've looked at my planner before, but as a quick update, not that page. Here we go. We'll get into our month stuff. I actually have, and I'm happy to recommend and link them, JetPens does these cute little tabby things that you like put on one side and then there's a line and then you fold it in half. So I've actually done 2 rows of them where I've matched the colors by month. So first one takes you to the month view. And then the second one will take you to the beginning of the month days. And then I'm using separate markers for things like my week view. So, if we take a quick look, I'm mostly caught up on my month. I have a mix of whether it's appointments, whether it's things that I was taking part in. So like this blue and purple here was Tech Friday with DC. This second one 2 days later was the Mass Effect Session 1 on Praxis channel. I have a little thing here because on Saturday I posted my recap, my blog post for the recap of Aresia. So I keep track of what days I stream. I note things like, hey, I completed a game, or a book is released, and I completed a project, I completed a book. So all of that marked. And one thing that you probably can't see super well, but is over here, is I actually make a list of the things I'm tracking. So books, crochet, dice, games, sewing, blog, and I'll just mark. It's more for a number sort of thing, like, oh, I wrote 2 blogs in January. Well done, me. And I do have a little bit of a degree of color coding here, but something that was really interesting is I have to think about it, a YouTuber that I was watching clips of, who is, I will tell you all their channel name in just a second. Channel name is Journal, Jot, and Jive, who does planning videos and things of that nature. Something I liked is they actually made like a little legend in the corner for colors of like what each color would mean, and then they would write stuff just in a single pin color in each of the days, and then put next to it like a dot or something, or like fill in a square that would be the color of what that particular thing was associated with. And I was like, oh, that's much more brilliant than the way I'm trying to be like, Some of this is consistent color coding, like my appointments are always in like orange and yellow. My streams are always in blue. Payday is always in green. Everything else not consistent. Like holidays, birthdays, events, and game releases are all in pink. Now, I don't actually have a wide enough variety of colors to, in DC, just for your context, or because we talked about it, this is, it's hard to see, but this little piece of plastic has a slightly larger grid on it. I think these are quarter inch square grid, with a little, pencil holder on the end that I don't actually use, is a pencil guard. So really the intent is that you put it behind a page before you write on it, and that will just kind of help protect for like, depends on like how hard you, how much pressure you have when you're writing. So I try to make the habit of going in and I track by day that I streamed, and then I put more info on the individual days. But as we look at this month, I had a lot going on, from at least what hopefully you all can see. Let me try something here, which is that I'm going to see if I can zoom just a little bit. Y'all still probably aren't going to be able to read everything, but you can see a little bit better. And then if we need to, we can always zoom back out. So, I read a bunch of books. Now, admittedly, some of that was mangas, light novels, actual books, e-books, what have you, but I'm at, 23. I did not finish any crochet projects. I did not make any dice, despite my plans originally to. I did complete one game. I finished Submerged yesterday, y'all, which I think I originally saw on Stephen Joy's channel, and looked really cool. Forgot about it. Was just like, oh, that's cool. It was on my wish list. I finally picked it up, and it's relatively short. You can play it in a couple hours. So I completed it in about 3, not quite 3.5, and finished it yesterday. I kind of did it over the course of a couple of days, and it was really good, and I already started the second one, which is Submerged Hidden Depths. So I completed one game. I completed one sewing project, which was, I think the Froggy Hat. Was it the Froggy Hat? No, I completed, the Baby Quilt. And then I put 2 blog posts. So I kind of did the New Year, Say Me, and then my Arija recap post this past weekend. So I feel pretty good about how January is, and how it turned out. So we are gonna flip over and take a quick, well, there's a lot of work to be done here, y'all. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and copy over the things that I track. I keep this part relatively basic and maybe not pretty. Maybe that's something I'll do in the future. Games, sewing, and blog. Sometimes I will use this section off to the side for a little bit more as well. So I might let that dry off, and then I might put a mix of marker color over the pin, just because I think that will kind of give me little blocks. I do give them a bit of space because sometimes I do a lot and sometimes I don't. So preemptively, you all can already see I've marked February, oddly enough, for it being one of the shorter months, has 3 paydays in it because, okay, the other thing I should note here, I have my paydays marked on Thursday. Payday for a lot of people is actually on Friday, and that's technically the case for me, but it's just the way that my bank recognizes, like, the wire, because I have direct deposit coming in from the company. It shows up as in my bank account on Thursday. So I mark paydays on Thursday. Because I mark them by when does it show up in my account, not the technical day that it is. So we had 3 paydays, or I had 3 paydays in February, which is wild. I'm taking a workshop on this Saturday the 3rd. My friend does like the little like construction miniatures where you like make stuff. I don't know what the correct term is besides miniatures. And she has one for a little miniature sewing room, so I'm doing the workshop to make that. And then I'm starting a sewing class on Thursday, so as a quick reminder, this is the last Thursday for a bit. Tomorrow that we will be wow, I can't think, that we will be streaming on Thursday, and then the rest of, for all of February, we will probably be doing Monday, Wednesday, with periodic other days in. So I am taking part in or I'm going to be doing a zippered vest class, which I think is going to be quite interesting. In addition to that, I have a couple other little things on my calendar for the month. There's manga that I buy ebook version of that has a release on the 12th. There's something marked as a game release on the 13th. Let's go look at Vanisher's Ghost of New Eden is coming out on the 13th, which I think my friend mentioned to me. And I was like, cool, I'll put it onto my list. And then, saying it now, Pirate's birthday is late in February, so it's there. When I have things that I'm unsure about or that I think might move, I will typically put them in pencil first and then come back and revisit them. So there's a couple of things that we are going to do here, in the sense that first, what I am missing was, for some reason, I had in pencil all of the Mass Effect play sessions on the weekend. So we're going to go back through and actually write those in with our purple pen. And also, I tend to put a lot of pressure when I'm writing. I'm very heavy-handed in that way. Mass Effect Session 2. Mass Effect Session 3. I do not currently... I also need to go back and put something. I do not currently anticipate having to skip any of the sessions outside of something, getting sick or something wild going on. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark them all in. And this is the actual play being done on Explorer's channel. So, session 5. The other thing that I forgot to write in, which we will go back and we will just put in pin back here, is I actually played Magic the Gathering at my friend Tom's over the weekend. I'm just going to go ahead. I kind of keep track of I got to hang out with my friends. So I am going to... How did we color this? We did it with a blue and a purple. So we pulled out... so I have the Zebra mild liners highlighters, which are a mild ink. They have a bold and a fine side. So I use these for some of my coloring things. I'm messing with my lighting a little bit. I'm sorry, y'all. Just for not like this. Y'all tell me if it looks any different for you. That seems better. So I like using the combination of colored pens and then highlighters or markers to just draw attention to things that are happening throughout my month. So that was the dark blue, and then we are going to give that a second to dry, and we're going to add in the purple, and then I'm actually going to use, also acquired from JetPens, this nice little fancy looking mechanical pencil, because this Sunday I may also be playing Magic at my friend's again, and we just need to confirm. So I'll put it in his pencil and what have you. So that's kind of, one of the ways in which I sort of keep track of things. I've had these Zebra mild liners for a while. You do want to be careful with them. They can sometimes bleed a bit, especially into the back of the page from the Hobonichis. But I'd say generally they're not too problematic, and I like using them. So I think this was a pack of 10 that I purchased some time ago. They're pretty popular. I believe that they're a Japanese stationery. I forget how I came across them originally, but it was also, I believe, a planner thing. Despite the fact that I have gotten significantly more heavily into decorative planning and journaling this year, this was something that I did before. I just wasn't quite as excessive with it, is maybe how I would phrase it. So that takes care of Mass Effect. We have our sewing things, we have Payday, we have game release, we have book release. Typically, if I'm going to put it in my monthly view, then I have also duplicated it over to what are we feeling right now, y'all? So here is from there we go. Lovable Shop are these fun little holographic sparkly. So I have a black, a silver, and a blue. From Color Oasis, which I pointed out before, I have some additional washi tape. I don't know if you all will be able to see. There we go, into focus. Healing is not linear. Listen, am I trying to remind myself of everything all the time, including being kind to myself? Absolutely, yes I am. And I bought washi tape and stickers to prove it. So yeah, a lot of this right now is it's just kind of the like, you do your month-end wrap-up, make sure you've covered everything you need to. We'll do some prep for February things, which I might already have somewhere on a sticky note, maybe. I'll have to figure out. I was making notes of things I wanted to do in February, and I just gotta figure out where I put those. So I don't know if I actually put them in the planner or not. It's more of like, note to self when I get to that. So I'm pulling all of this out because something I just realized that I had not done, and that I kind of like the idea of, is, what is this pretzel? Is, potentially, here's my positive affirmation, beautiful things take time, be gentle, trust the process. I think I'd like to do a little bit, won't put a ton at the top because I don't have as much space, but if I take this down a little bit, you can see we have a whole bunch of open space here at the bottom of the monthly, and I might just put, I'm gonna put some washi on that. So the question becomes, I don't think I want something with this where it's very clearly a pattern that will be broken up if I fold it over. So we're not going to do either of those. I think the thin ones are not going to quite accomplish what I'm looking for, so we're going to set those aside. And then I do have a few here that are thicker. Let me pull some of the others out. So I think the question becomes, what is the colors we should do for February? I'm kind of feeling like something in this pink or kind of not blue or purple zone. I think I'll take these out. I hate to be cliche and be like, well, Valentine's Day. Music, what are you doing? Pretzel, what are you doing? I'm really annoyed because my lighting looks so good right here, but then, alright, we're gonna turn the light off, and we're gonna try and move it far enough over that it will maybe be out of frame for you all, but give some more light. Nope, totally definitely in frame. For me to move it out of frame, I have to move a whole bunch of other stuff out of the way. Let's see if we can do that. Can I make that happen? Because not quite almost. Part of my issue is that I do currently have a wide variety of things that are just here on the floor until I figure out where I'm going to put them. And I feel really bad if the light is, there we go. If it's in the field of view for you all with this camera. But again, I don't have a lot of space, and I have a lot of stuff away. Take a break? Do I have a timer that tells me to take a break? When did this happen? This feels like a lie. So, I think I'd rather do a thicker, wider, washi. And as much as I like the purple, it would get, our witch and her cat will get cut off. So we're going to set that one aside too. And I think we're gonna go for the pink, y'all. What do you think? The pink or this, I don't even know, repeating motif in different colors? Not loving it. I'm kind of tempted to go for the repeating motif. So the way that I'm going to do this is we will do this without ripping it, which I have done more than once. I'm apparently very bad at unrolling washi tape. Don't judge me. Or I mean, maybe just only judge me a little bit. Luckily, the Hobonichi does have gridded paper. So what I'm going to do here, this I'm going to cheat just, cut the edge, and then we actually going to just fold it up along the edge of the paper. We're going to create a nice little motif there at the bottom. And then the only other thing I'm going to do is I will just do, it does have, this particular paper does have rounded corners. So we're just going to round that a little bit. We're going to trim off the excess. Look at that, we have a nice little washi motif that will give us February and March. Well, half of February and half of March, or half of March and half of January, but all of February. So theoretically, I probably should have picked one particular washi and done this throughout, but guess what? That's not how we're gonna roll. I will say that because while I have done some degree of, using color coding, using colored pens and markers and things of that nature over the course of my journaling adventures, I have not necessarily done the amount. I've even had washi before this. This is not the first time I have excessively purchased washi. But this is the first time I'm using it quite to this degree of being like decorative planning. So as a result, there's a lot of trial and error. So I'll fully admit that. It's partially why I have a notebook that I'm just testing stuff in as I see it or as I think about it, which is that I just want to figure out what works, what's the style and things that I like, what have you. So we've put in our checklist of things that we're going to track for the month. We have paydays already in here. We have classes if I had appointments or something else. I actually think, let's check my calendar. Let's see, so we have class, Mass Effect. Oh, I know. We're going to add a couple other things. So first, the 9th is a Magic the Gathering set release. It's the murder set is what I'm calling it. I will come back to that in a second. Let's see. Susie gets her pills on the 16th of every month. How did I color that in here? I put it in red. So, Susie pills. Gotta make sure that she doesn't get heartworm or anything like that. It's very funny to me that literally right after just writing it in pencil, I'm like, actually, I'll put it in the color I meant to put it in. And then, tentatively, because this always happens to me, let's see, the 27th, I have scheduled a therapy appointment. I say tentatively because my schedule's been all over the place. So I'm going to put it in as pencil, and I will just finalize it into the appropriate appointment color when it gets a little bit closer, just in case something comes up. I have had to reschedule a couple of times, so I'm being conscious of that. Otherwise, I don't know what else is happening next month, y'all. I've already got a book release in, I've already got a game release in, I have my schedule, I have the things that I already know I've definitely committed to. I think that's good. Y'all can also see, for March, I've preemptively done similar. I have class, I have paydays, I have a couple birthdays. I need to fill in Mass Effect again, but it's fine. PAX East is happening. There's a book release, there's a game release. The end of the month is actually Anime Boston. I put that in pencil because I haven't decided if I'm going then. So you can kind of see, like, for some things, like, hey, stuff that I know, birthdays. I have my next hair appointment in April. Some stuff I preemptively go through. So I will say this. I generally will try, especially at the beginning of the year or like every 3 months, so each quarter, to sit down and be like, what are the things I know are already happening in the quarter? So like, I did the first 3 months of the year and I put in paydays. And like, could I do more? Yeah, but probably I'll save that for the end of next month, potentially sometime in March, is I'll fill out the others. I do at the beginning of the year when I'm doing my planner, put in all birthdays first. As I add book releases that I'm looking out for, there's 2 in April. I'll go ahead and fill those in. So that's the month view. I think we're all good for the moment. Actually, before I finish with that, we have a few freebie days here. So let's go pull some stuff out of our sticker box. These were the, so these are Midori index tabs. This is what I'm using. So, I can show you all. I saw that if you left. Yes, I'm Pack Rat, and I keep it in the packaging so I can reference it later. So you have 2 sheets with matching colors. So that's how I've been doing is I pull a color from one sheet, I pull a color from the other sheet, so you can see all the blanks here. So I found those generally, like, those were a nice little thing to use. I got those at jetpens.com, which is a very dangerous stationery, like pens and other things site to not just in general visit, but also to follow on YouTube. I do have a mix of stencils, so I have some old ones that I had forever ago. These are actually kind of sucky, but they're good for some things. I bought this, like, wild set of it's like 12, I think, little pages of stencils, and I think there's a lot of good ones in here. The problem is, they're real flimsy. I've already broken a couple. I don't think that's overall problematic, but it was definitely I got what I paid for, in terms of the flimsiness of them. So, like, that's just something to keep in mind if you're looking for those sorts of supplies. They'll work, and I'll keep using them until they're really, like, trash. But, you know, food for thought there. Alright, so we have Pokemon stencils. I have a whole mix of, like, stickers. Whole mix of random other stickers. So, like, I think this one was from a Kickstarter. I think this one was from a Kickstarter. This one was definitely from a Kickstarter. Oh, here we go. I'm Totally Possum in combination with the other from a Kickstarter. This one is from a Kickstarter that was for a book. Also really good. I think this is a random one. I don't think that it was from a Kickstarter, but it was Sailor Moon, yeah. Let me tell you the story. And then I've had this one forever. This, like, color, I think this is a Zodiac? I've had this sticker for years. Oh, and then a Ragnar symbol because I'm a nerd. So anyways, those I've held on. This is a fun little set of, like, random, these are stickers. They're just giant, like, scene stickers, I guess I would say. So those are probably, they're themed to this washi over here that I was showing off. They came as a set together. I have used a couple, so I basically, like, take my X-Acto to it, and like, we'll trim a piece off and lay it down. I'll show you all an example of where I did that, with one of the others. So I have these in here when I want to do, like, some backdrop scenery and things like that with stickers. Cutest way to call out here. I got this really, really cute little, like, various faces sticker set with frogs. Also from Lovable Shop. Very good. I have other stickers from them. They're in my, like, little sticker pouch to the front. And then I have these, like, mix of stickers that I've had forever that I've been very slowly using. So some of them are functional. These are little dots and, like, symbols, do, goals, to do, priority, those sorts of things. So I'm slowly working my way through all of these. And then I have a bunch of things, that are the first coffee. Little stickers and things like to buy, to do, and then a bunch of sayings and stuff. So I go through and kind of like, oh, what do I feel is appropriate at this time? Whether it's by a day or by day or by month or what have you, because, like, my girlfriend's like, stick with it, stay focused, use focus camera, there you go, goals, like, fun things. So it's kind of a mix and match, and I'm just slowly working my way through them. I don't feel like I have too terrible a combination of stickers here. So I like taking a look and going, what here might be a theme or something that I want to carry through for the month or the week or the day, wherever I use them. This one I'm going to save for a little bit later when we're actually closer to spring, because it's still frickin' winter. I have one about October's. I think the one I want here is for this, this sticker. Find what brings you joy and go there. Jen Focus. And then, because I really do like these colors, again, as I mentioned, a lot of this is trial and error. I'm just trying stuff and seeing what happens. Let that dry a second, and then we will find this one. Lighter blue. And then, where are you, green? Ooh, not this way, but maybe this way. It's more of a tealish. Where's my actual green? There it is, I see it. It's in here. Oh my god, there was a raid, and I have no sound alerts. What just happened? Everything stopped. And my alerts are apparently broken. Hello, welcome in, raiders. Hi. My apologies that I totally missed that, since apparently my alerts are broken. Good to know. What the heck alerts? But hi, Jazzy, how did the rest of your puzzles go? Welcome in, Antiquated, Puddle Glum, Jazzy. Wrapped up the second game a bit earlier in the interview. Oh, that's fair. Totally get it. I'm doing plannery things. So many raids. Raid and run. No, totally get it. Have a great evening. I can't wait to catch up on the back half. I think we were just finishing, the first game, the demo you were playing when I hopped out. So I'll be excited to catch up on the rest. Where the heck? Well, first off, my music stopped playing, so there's a first problem. Alright, hold on, y'all. I'm trying to figure out what the heck I did in my alerts. Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. While I just absolutely break everything. I know what I did. I appreciate you! And I'm glad your stream went well. I can't wait to catch up. I'm sorry, y'all. Now that I'm like, my alerts are broken, I have to fix them. Is this? I'm trying to figure out, I don't remember what alerts I was using. My stuff is just marked as alerts. And my problem here is I have my alerts tied to a scene. So, if I click on the scene like you all just saw me do, I go to that scene. So we're a whole mess right now. And then all of the things I use for alerts, none of them are loading in for me to be like, can I just pull my alerts URL? Well, guess what? Guess what, y'all? I'm gonna need your help to keep myself on track. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna add fix stream alerts to my list on desktop. This is the other problem, is I might fix something on the laptop and then not fix it on desktop, or vice versa. So I did this to myself. It's fine. Well, welcome in, raiders. Hi, everyone. If you don't know who I am, I'm Lydia Love34. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a variety streamer who does a variety of things. Wow, I'm really bad at introductions, including video games, sewing, crocheting, now dice making, journaling and planning, decorative journaling, or decorative planning and journaling, and who even knows anymore? I've done too many things. So I decided I don't normally stream on Wednesdays, Wednesdays aren't, I say normally as I'm about to get into Wednesday streaming, but I don't normally stream on Wednesdays, but I decided that I would use tonight and sitting on a stream with the rest of y'all to help me wrap up my month of January in my planner, fill in stuff for February, and then, potentially, and then wrap up my reading journal as well. So we'll be doing some, that's not quite what I wanted. This was great until I added the green in, so I ruined that, but this is fine. It looked so good until I did that. So that's what we're doing. Kind of wrapped up some of January things. But welcome in. And then also, as you can see, as part of Team Cypher, also doing what I can to, like many others, fundraise for the PCRF, which is the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund, who is doing necessary and important work from that region of the world, which we know is a very hotly debated and contested situation. And so there's plenty of ways. I know Jazzy has a variety of resources that he's pointed to recently that assist with, or I say assist, that also are ways that you can contribute or support with calling your local reps and pushing them on supporting ceasefire, these sorts of things. Even if you cannot contribute to the various aid organizations monetarily. So I strongly encourage everybody. I know that Team Cypher fundraiser booked $10,000 earlier today. We're just a small bit in it. I know it's a rough year, so not everybody can contribute monetarily. But I wanted to make sure that I was drawing attention to that before we go back to the planning things. So I've kind of been talking about the fact that I have always, or over the past few years, done more planners and things. I can't word, so I apologize in advance, everyone. I have done planning using planners for the past few years, but it's only this year that I really got into like the hyper decorative components of like this sort of thing with highlighter and pen and a little bit of color coding would be pretty standard. This degree of decorative with washi tape and other things like that. I've used stickers, I've used highlighters, but maybe not quite like this. So I do want to show off to you all, because that's the type of person that I am. Showing off, no, I'm just kidding. But to give you some idea, oh hi, Cypher, welcome in, hello, hello. So this is my goals for the year, which I think I talked about on a stream on the 1st of January, so kind of appropriate that we wrap up a plannery stream on the 31st of January. But taking a quick look, there's a couple of things that I have been able. Some of these are more general, they're not like fully being marked off. Some of these are things that I can mark, so like, hey, blog at least once a month. I actually marked off January, and you all can't see it, there's 2 little marks here because I did 2 blogs in January. I want to take part in at least 3 tabletop RPG games, and I've already knocked out 2, so well done us in the first month of the year. That means I have 11 months to do 1 more. I have, because one of my themes for the year is trying to work with things that I already own. So in my kind of life and leisure bucket, 2 of the things I want to do is finish at least 10 games that I owned at the beginning of the year, and finish at least 25 books that I owned at the beginning of the year. So like stuff I already had before the 1st of January 2024. I completed 1 game that was submerged yesterday, and I have like 3 books from that list. As you saw, I've read a lot more than 3 so far. But only 3 of those were ones that I already owned. So telling myself a bit. And then, so far I've only completed 1 sewing project, but that's fine, totally fine. So we're going to flip over and take a quick look at the beginning, my January goals. So I had a couple of things. Don't get overwhelmed, overcommit, so well done us. We've had a little bit of a rough time. I wanted to read at least 4 books, we definitely wrote that. I wanted to complete 2 projects, unfortunately I only completed 1, so we'll consider this one halfway done. I did finally finish a game yesterday. Sneaking it in at the end of the month, but that's fine. I wanted to finish setting up my planner for the year. I got the bulk of this done, and the one thing that I had not finished, so I was like add events that I knew about to the calendar, add game and book releases, and I wanted to format completed the list, but I think because of how I've shifted how I'm journaling, I actually do not want to use completed lists in the same way. So I'm going to kind of mark that. We're going to just say that's a squiggly, and we'll call this one done because that I'm still working on. I wanted to start planning a vacation, and I had notes. I'm like, does Agrisha count? Does PAX East count? That's still a question mark. And then, of course, I had blog posts, so we got 2 in. So probably what I might do is I might give myself a squiggly line or a washi tape divider, and then put some thoughts and some thoughts and recap notes at the bottom. So as you look through, you can kind of start to see some of the things, as supplies and other things slowly progressed through the month, and I started getting stuff I ordered, I started filling in more notes, I was throwing washi tape across the page as that started to come in, I started to get a little more decorative little by little until it started getting, I don't want to say excessive, but it's getting somewhere. So you can kind of see, again, I'm doing a lot of testing things out, letting it evolve and figure out, this was fun because these are the days from Arisha, convention. So I was actually walking them out around, like, each of these kind of groupings per se was a panel or something that I was doing. So I was sort of grouping around those things for fun. Some days are simpler where I'm just throwing in some washi for flavor. Other days it's things like a sticker or like boxes and groupings. Like here was January 17th. After much watching and following of journaling accounts on Instagram and YouTube, I've been inspired to start my own reading journal. So mapping out the initial pages that I want to start and catch up with my January reads so far. Probably take some time to set up, but I'm excited to try it out. Wish me luck. So I've been doing a little bit of these, like, today's thoughts or something that I wanted to highlight. And, to-do lists or, I've been starting to add in, I have, where you be at, Washi? Where you be at? This one. Let's see if it'll zoom in. There you go. Also from JetPens, this is a washi tape with just a little panel, of weather. So I've been putting one on each day and circling what applies and then making a note about what type of weather it was for the day. So I have those in. So that's like nice little things. Like, hey, it was cold and snowy on January 19th. So some days are better than others. So like, here's an example. I finally opened my Mini Worlds Tavern coffee, and it was the Citadel blend. So I actually took a little card that came with the coffee, and washi taped it in. Washi tape. So I would have it here and kind of like had a little note that I had tried a new coffee blend, those sorts of things. So like, what did I read today? I I finished rereading a light novel, and then I started reading some mangas, what have you. And then, like, there's some days where it was a rough day. For whatever reason, I didn't get to a lot. So, like, it's just some text. That's fine. I try to at least get something in every day. Here we go. Here is Sirius. Yes, this is one of the ones from Mini Worlds Tavern. Mini Worlds Tavern. So that's how I was like, oh, I tried the new coffee. So I put it in here and put some comments about what I thought it was. This is Sirius's seal of approval here, because this is the day that the recipient for the baby quilts got it, and I felt really good about myself. So I was like, I got the seal of approval. I have a couple little comments here about that specifically. And then I had a sticker that's be a little piece of magic, and I felt really good about that whole thing. So that was, like, I came out of the end of that day and was like, I need to write about it. There was a day where I streamed, and all I put was getting it done. That's today's theme. So when I talk about, like, decorative planning, this is a planner I am keeping track of things, like, hey, I had a therapy appointment on this day. But it's also, I'm having fun with some of my washi. So here's washi came in. I've been using my highlighters and my markers. Here's a little bit, one section of that. One section of one of those stickers that I talked about. So there's squares. I cut a section and put it in here. That I thought thematically it worked. So this is from a couple of my variety of different washi tapes and stickers, and just, trying different things out. So, this one was funny because the washi tape, the layer of washi tape here cut off the head of this person. So I was like, how the heck am I going to integrate them into something? So this was Tech Friday with DC. But you can kind of see, like, here's the books that I pre-ordered and or ordered. I had 2 packages arrive. I had something shipped or something that released census that I pre-ordered, what have you. So you can kind of see, like, some days are simpler. Some days are a little more complicated in what I'm trying to do with this spread. Each day, I probably hard for y'all to see, but each day, no, actually, no, I'm gonna stop saying that, because when I rewatched my VODs, small other story VOD, I'm finally getting in the habit of pulling my, Twitch streams down as a VOD, and I'm now very slowly starting to upload them to my YouTube channel, which I don't talk about because there's nothing on it, basically, but, there we go, okay. Socials, where you can find my YouTube, my very basic YouTube. I think I have like 4 subscribers. I have the 5 streams that we did in December, that was wrapping up Legend of Zelda. Those are all uploaded. I've started prepping to get the Detective VODs up so far, and then I will start filling in the rest that we're sewing, planning, miscellaneous other things. So I am now going to start trying to get in the habit, because I think it was you, Antiquated, who brought it up, and you're like, oh, tell me about, or you had a question about quilting. And I was like, oh, I did all of this on stream previously, only to realize that, like, again, Twitch only holds past broadcasts for affiliates for 2 weeks. So all of that was gone. So I was like, you know what? I need to get in the habit of pulling the VODs down, and if all I do is re-upload them to YouTube, that's fine, but I need to do that. So I'm going to start getting into that habit. So, there was a reason that I was telling this story. Oh, the reason I was telling this story, thank you, PC, I appreciate you. The reason that I was telling this story is because in the process of doing that, I was like, well, let me watch one of these videos. How does it sound? How does it look? And, like, I go back and occasionally rewatch some of my VODs, but it's usually, like, I put it on as background noise while I'm doing other things, because I'm like, oh, was there something that came up that I could clip from it? Or what have you? Only to realize that when it's not tiny on my screen, because I have 5 things open, but I need to see chat, and I need to see the Twitch, dashboard, and I need to see OBS, actually the quality of it and what you all are getting is much better than I think it is. Because I'm seeing all of it tiny. And so, so the point being here is, you all are probably seeing it better, but I've been doing my little leather stickers all the time. And DC, I've been thinking about it, where I was like, maybe eventually I'll work up to multi-streaming. I don't know yet, because I was like, I don't know how much work that involves to set up to go into both, and then keeping track of both chats. Like, I can barely keep track of my own chat. Look at the fact that I've broken StreamerBot, I've broken my alerts, I've broken multiple things just by going from the laptop to here. So I feel like that'll make it more complicated. But who knows? So anyways, my point for all of that was, you all can actually probably see this much better than I think you can, because I'm looking at a much smaller version of it on the screen. This one's really funny. Alright, this one's funny to me because you can't read it. Well, I don't know if you all can read it. This was the day of doing things. I have a whole list. I added recent book purchases to all of my relevant planners and journals, and it's just a long list of all the stuff I did this particular Saturday. You can see that I pulled out some of my other stickers. So one of the reasons why I wanted to buy more of, that's a really dark one, this flat one is less good, wanted to buy a wider variety of these markers, which is part of what I've been using, is I wanted to be able to have a better color matchup of things that I'm doing, because I was like, oh, I have this pretty like blue and black and this color tone stickers, and then I have no colors that match that. So you can see for the 29th that, like, I used browns. I had a sepia pin at this point. This is coffee is always a good idea. Those sorts of things. So I'm, like, learning the types of spreads that I want to do, things of that nature. This one's from yesterday. That I finished the game's merch. Look at me knocking out those goals. 2 packages arrived. I got like, I'd say like 2/3 through the things that I wanted to get done for the day, which is another little checklist at the top. And then I had some thoughts. And again, this is a combination of washi. So for this one, as an example, I was using this washi. I used 2, I don't know if it was exactly these 2 separate markers, this washi, and then one of these washis that I took off and then I ripped in half. and put a section at each top and bottom. These are stickers from, where are you at? From this washi tape. I say stickers, and what I mean is actually that they're, it's the washi tape, and then I'm just taking an X-Acto plate so I can cut out the bits and pieces that I want and use them like stickers. Sometimes I will take scissors too. It kind of depends on what I'm trying to pull out. Leaf, you might find this one particularly interesting as you all are thinking about the things you might want to do, because so this one is straight, but a couple of these are, so you can see, are actually perforated so that you can use them like headers and stuff like that. So this is actually a perforated. Now, granted, this one was cut in half, but like if you wanted to use it as like a header or a little thing to write on, what have you. I'm the worst. Also a JetPins acquisition. So, let's see. We'll just set the sticker to the side for a moment. So what we're going to do real quick, I will probably save wrapping up. The only thing I will go ahead and do, because we know we're already doing it, is I will go ahead and mark at the bottom that you get a stream, and this is going to be a planner and journaling day. We started about 8 p.m. and then I'll write in once it's finished. So like I need to get groceries today, so like preemptively I can go ahead and say, yeah, I got groceries. And yeah, I cleaned up my craft setup because I had to be able to do this with y'all. But yeah, like there's a bunch of different washi's, so like I like this one. I'm trying to pull an end that is not there. I feel like I'm in like an 80s cartoon with this music. Sometimes I cut it, sometimes I just rip it. Depends on how I'm feeling, but don't like that uneven edge. So here's my weather washi. So we'll go ahead. This up. Today it was kind of a meh day. I want you. It's kind of overcast, cold-ish. There we go. Alright. How do you attach those decorations? Backs are sticky. So all of these are washi tapes and things, so the back is definitely a sticky material. I'll use this as an example. These are actually stickers on a roll that are flowers. So let me get to something you'll see if you get into like journaling YouTube and all of that stuff is using a set of like craft tweezers to help you better manipulate this stuff than just trying to use your fingers. Can confirm is helpful. So this is just literally a sticker, and they're just like a roll of stickers. So if I wanted to lay this down, ooh, not like that. So yeah, all of these are basically a sticker or like a tape. So the back does have an adhesive on it. So like I will put, there we go, 2 little flowers. And I will actually, this one I'm actually going to use I don't want to find that bigger. So it's a little bit of trial and error. Some things work better than others, but just whatever I want to add in. I'm literally keep throwing things on the floor, y'all. I apologize. If I wanted to, let's say, I have this mix of thinner ones, so I might use these as dividers. Depending on what like my color theme will be for the day. what have you. So, and then I do have, like, as I was showing earlier, I do have actual stickers. Actually, we are gonna legit, this is 100% going on today. Today is gonna be a, but first. Coffee. Because my brain would not shut up last night, and it took me forever to fall asleep, and I was like, well, today's gonna suck. So my pouch full of my stickers, including my little Pokemon self-care, saying things like treat yourself. So, having said all of that, I wanted to look, and unfortunately it looks like the answer is no. What the heck? I wonder. I've been writing stuff on sticky notes and then leaving them in random places. So you can see here for this week, I already have my stuff for Saturday. We will go ahead actually. So I also have the weekly views. So plannering is a little bit of a, like, you put stuff in advance. And this will start at 8. So this will be Mass Effect Session 2. We are generally going for about let me figure that I want. What about this one? That's actually, I'm like trying out, different. Marker shapes and sizes. So, like, as mentioned, the same way with the daily view. I am attempting to fill in what I can. And, like, I don't necessarily do the whole month at a time. I will try to do a good portion of it. Just so that I have less setup and things that I knew. Less setup and things that I have to do, week over week. So this might seem like a lot right now, but at the end of the day, depending on how much I want to write, what all I want to do, it's probably closer to like 20, 30 minutes max. And I just find it kind of meditative to sit down and do this. It's, doing stuff that feels pretty. It's doing things that help me sort of wrap up my thoughts for the day. And so I particularly find it enjoyable. So, like, I'll probably go through, I don't think I'm going to do the I lied, we'll do at least one more. Like, I'm probably not going to do Mass Effect Session 3. I can't read, so I actually put this at the end of the session instead of the beginning of the session. Whoops. It's fine. We know it's going to be in the evening. That's really all that matters here, right? We start at 8 o'clock, but for some reason I wrote this next to 10 and 11, so please, judge me just like a little bit for that. Not a ton. I don't know how I feel about this shape. I don't feel like it's not sure it's moving the way I want to. Let's pick something else. What else have I got here in my stencils? Do I have a smaller version of that? I thought I did. But maybe I don't. Because on the first one, I do have a smaller version of that. I'm just foolish. Actually, let's try something else. Let's try purple, which will be our outside. color. And I'm going to do the dark blue on the inside. So this is a lot, like I said, if you actually look anywhere at journaling or planning, Instagram, YouTube, what have you, there's some really pretty stuff. There's also people who've been doing it for years, and are much more practiced, and they sometimes want to make it social media pretty. I'm not quite as concerned. I want it to be functional. I'm going to try out different things, and maybe at the end of it, it'll be pretty. So that is the one thing I will say. This is the less than pretty version, because I'm just trying stuff out, y'all. I'm like, what will work for me? Will this work? I don't know. What did I just do in my purple? It was literally just in my head. So cool. Purple, what did I do with you? Blue? Blue? Purple. We just had the purple in our hands, y'all. There it is. Me. Where did you go, purple? I'm not the best at straight lines, so I like these planners that have grids and also stencils for helping me, because I am not great at this. I can't even follow the lines of the stencil very well. Here. There we go. Alright, so that wraps up. That's, it's not everything, but I've gotten a good amount of things already in here. So that takes us through that part of February. And I have no freaking clue, y'all, where my list of February things are. I have, these are the things I want. Let's actually, hold on. Wait a second, y'all. What if I put it in my daily journaling things? Let's go take a look. Let's see. Finished a game. That was exciting. Talked about YouTube things. It's a Monday. Let's see. Look at this. Think I may try a planning stream on Wednesday. Guess what? We're doing that, y'all. Somewhere, maybe it was actually in a sticky note. I'll have to see if I can find what were the things. So I kind of want to set an idea of what are the things I want to be doing in February. So I kind of I'm going to fill out. So example here. Again, this is my January. I set a couple of things as goals for the month. Some stickers and things that I can check off, what have you. I'm going to actually recap my month probably on this lower section after I've thought about it a bit more. So I want to do the same thing for February. So at least the first half, we'll fill out some stickers, we'll do some other things. Set goals. I think I'm also going to want to try and similarly, again, because we're working towards some specific things, finish games, finish projects. I'll get to finish at least one project because of my workshop. Read books. And then I think for February, there's a couple of things I haven't gotten to that I'd like to work on. If I can. So I got that Dremel, if you all remember a while back, that I haven't quite had time to sit down and really mess with yet. So I do want to mess with the Dremel so that I can hopefully, fingers crossed, finish off sanding a bunch of my dice. And then once I get them finished and out of the way, I'll be a little more set up to go into my next set of dice. If we go back and look, we want to complete 10 sewing projects, 5 crochet. I do need to make some progress on some of my crochet projects, so maybe those are. So I'm trying to set, for the most part, when I fill out kind of my things I want to accomplish in a month, I'm trying to set realistic things that will happen naturally as I go about my days. So we're working on Detective Pikachu Returns. We are probably going to finish Detective Pikachu Returns, if not tomorrow, then the next stream on Monday. At which point, that game will be done. We can not check it off. But I want to have 2 there, because I'm like, alright, let's keep trying to do 2. Because, you know, my goal for the year is that I finish 10 games that I already own. And that's like, not quite one a month, but there might be a month where I don't get anything finished. So setting those little things will be helpful. So there's a couple of things I'm going to kind of leave for me to do off stream, but I wanted to sort of show you all at least a little bit of what I'm doing here with my planner. So we got some plannering things out of the way. Feel good about that. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, we get to go to the fun one now, y'all, which is our reading journal. Reading journal! So, reading journal. First off, I want to, I don't have the prettiest cover page, because first off, I botched messing with my paint pen, and so that ended up all funky. Because I wasn't really writing, so I was doing little bits, and then I did too much, what have you. And then I didn't have the colors I wanted for everything, so I ended up being like, you know what, screw it, it'll be good enough, and I'll get better at this over time. But I do want to, I heard this, I think it was somebody, I don't remember if it was actually a quote, or if it was somebody quoting somebody else, but it's finding a good book is like searching through lost and found. Sometimes you don't know what you're missing until you find it, like a good book. And I felt like that was a good way to think about books. You never know whether a book's going to be good or not, but also don't be afraid to set aside books that you're just not enjoying. I have to get better with things like a did not finish, and now for me, I want to contextualize here that it did not finish means that I chose to put that book down and not come back to it. I said, you know what, this book is not for me. I used to not be good at that. I can't tell you the number of times that I started and did not finish Gone with the Wind, because I kept being like, but this is supposed to be a classic, and so I'm going to finish it. So I kept trying and trying and trying. And one day I did finish it. It took me years. I think it was like my 4th or 5th try to finally read all the way through Gone with the Wind, and I hated it. I hated it, and, you know, at the time it was just like the accomplishment of doing it. But now I look back and went, I wasted so much time that I could have spent reading so many other books that I would have enjoyed so much more trying to finish this book that I was not enjoying. So I think most recently I was reading a book called The Library Book, and I don't know what it was about it. It's supposed to be, a lot of people really like it. It's good from a literary standpoint. It's well recommended. I just could not. And I kept trying, and I made it like halfway through and finally like, why am I toiling with this book that I'm not enjoying? That was a while ago though. So a couple things I'm going to call out here, if you haven't seen it. This is not the prettiest of books yet, or journals yet, because I kind of like did the basics in here, and then I haven't fully gone back to play with all of my markers and my stickers and my washi, though I will be. You'll see little bits of it. So a couple things I'm going to call out. I filled out, made my little grid here. There's 63 books in this grid. My goal for the year is to read 50. I do have a little block here for the actual. I'm also going to contextualize here that y'all, you were here early in the stream, and I was talking about the books that I read in January. I have technically read more than 10 books. Because when I count books, I count manga. I count light novels. I count ebooks as much as I count physical books. I listen to audiobooks, I would count those too, but that format doesn't really work for me. Sounds weird, it's a little too slow. But what I started doing was, just for the ease of how I was putting it here into this system for the reading journal, is that I was kind of bucketing primarily mangas. If I read like 3 in a row, I'd just be like, those are one book. And not because I want to discount the value of them or anything like that, but they tended to be, I find them that they tend to be faster reads. And so I might be like, oh, I'll try this one on Kindle Unlimited. And then I'm like, oh, I actually really enjoyed this. Let me read 5 more. And I get 6 done in a night. So just for ease of how I was documenting it, I bucketed those together. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go look at the things that I bucketed together for the 10. And we'll go in and fill out my top row for January here, which is books read pages read, new reads versus rereads. Did not finish. I did not have any did not finish for this month. Anything from the library, I had 0. I'm still catching up on obnoxious amount of books that I've bought. And then books bought, which is also correct. So this was book tracker. So I tried where I can. There's little marks here. I think I have notes to myself for when I do this again in the future, or like if I fill out this far and I have to do a secondary page that I put in a little further into the book to get better, which is that like, hey, I should just have a column or have something else, maybe it's color coding, to mark ebooks. I have stuff for marking a reread, what have you. So codes for type of book, print versus ebook, book, light novel, manga, manhwa, like those sorts of things. Not comprehensive reading list. I don't know what I was trying to tell myself here, but like, okay. I want my upfront, which I didn't quite do here. I want to kind of do the upfront as the year round. Then maybe do a like cover page of stats for a month. Separate from this, like going into a little more detail, that sort of summary of those months, and then go into the summary of the books, which I didn't do. This one page will eventually be, you can't see this pencil over here, I don't think very well. We'll be tracking some series that I'm in the process of, but I just haven't gotten to making this page pretty. I have my 2 read list. It's much longer than this, but I was picking out books that I physically have here in my apartment that I purchased that I actually want to finish. So I will be working my way through those. I have some anticipated releases, so this is anything that I pre-ordered or that somebody else has mentioned that I'm interested in. So I'm not the best at this. I'm not as good at anticipated releases. I'm always quite far behind books, besides a couple of manga that I keep up with, and light novels, so this I'll probably fill out a little bit more. This, when I remember to go to the library, or when I start reading some more stuff from the library and I'm not just come on. Focus. Camera's just completely gone out of focus. What are you doing? Well, this is weird. If I switch, can you focus on this? What's wrong with it, y'all? What's happened? I have questions. Why did this open all the way over here? You all can just have double me because I don't know what's happening. It's just gone completely and utterly out of focus. Has anyone else had this before? Or it's just not focusing on anything? Wait, maybe? There we go. Camera's just like, nah, I do what I want. So anyway, so these are notes for myself for in the future, which we're actually so I can come back to that. So anticipated releases, library cost savings, which we haven't started yet. Bookspot, I have been terrible. I've already bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books so far this year. 3 of them are manga. I counted the 1, 2, 3 that I pre-ordered. Hey, Pirate, welcome in. So I counted 3 in my list. I counted 3 that I pre-ordered. I have 3 manga. 2 are books that I picked up at Arusha. And then 3 are ones I either picked up or ordered. So like I ordered How to ADHD by Jessica McCabe. So like, I'm doing alright. And then I have reading challenges, so separate from my overall reading goal. This ties into my planner, which is I don't know how well you can read this sort of yellow, but it's this is reading 25 books I already own. So I have 3 so far. Here's the other one where I was like, oh, I cut 2 pieces or I cut up this is one of those square stickers I was talking about. So I cut it a few times and then layered them up, so it still looks square-ish. But I got like some duplicate colors in places, and then I made up some washi tape so I could hide like sections I cut off. So, like, it's not the prettiest, but it's like, I'm learning. Only slightly caused major structural damage trying to safely dig out a skeleton. Was the skeleton a friend? Asking for reasons? Alright, we have recommendations by friends. I haven't started filling this out yet. I expect that Prax is going to fill a bulk of this. And then I like this idea somebody had of books destashed. So if you all don't know, one of the things that I do is I try my best when I'm purchasing books. I have the library extension installed on Chrome. And what that does is essentially you can put your local library, input it, and it will cross-reference their online catalog or database, assuming they have it online. And so when you end up on a page like Amazon, Barnes & Noble's, bookshop.org, and you're at a specific book page, it will look for that book in your library's catalog and tell you if they have it. So it'll be like, 02 available. And you'll be like, cool. That means that my library has 2. I don't have to buy it. I can borrow it from the library. And so I do that specifically because what I like to do is, 1, not buy books I can easily get from my local library, because that's just more cost effective. And 2, that means that if the library doesn't have the book, I buy it and I don't love it, I can donate it and my library gets something that they didn't have before. Now, I will say for my particular state, this is a little more complicated, just because our entire state is on a singular library system. So rather than like my specific library, I actually have 4 my closest libraries listed. So I can get an idea of like, if it's at one of those 4, it's a pretty good idea that it's good. If it's not at one of those 4, it's a little iffy on whether our system has it or not. But so it makes me feel a little bit better that books I'm donating are ones that they didn't have already and can help me build out the overall catalog that my particular library system has. So books destashed will be books that as I finish them and they go into my donation pile to go to the library, those will go here. This is an open set of pages that I'm apparently going to do something with, but I don't know what. And then we get into my my quick little, I say summaries, but they're not even summaries. They are, my alerts are broken, but hi, what's up? Thank you for that resub. I broke my alert. I broke a lot of things today. I broke my alerts. I broke StringerBot, so none of my auto shoutouts are working. So like, I'm just not shouting anybody out because I broke everything. But hi, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for that reason. We're doing reading journal things right now. And also I'm enjoying you all. It's a little funky because of course like women's shirts are not made to hold weight, like this, but I do have a nice little wireless mic that I'm testing out today. Hopefully the audio is good for everyone. And balance is fine. But yes, so, the skeleton belongs to a ghost friend, so yes, perfect, great. Love that. So I don't know that I would call them book summaries, but these are like quick little recaps, my thoughts, what have you. So I'm listing the book, Maiden of the Needle, Volume 1 and 2. I'm listing the format. This one was print. Some of these were ebooks. When they were originally published, whether it's on my either Goodreads or my Storygraph list, I have this as start and finish. I think it's probably, you can actually see, this is transitioning as I go. I originally was like, when did I start it? When did I finish it? And then I'm like, no, let's just write when we finish it, because I'm going to be really bad at keeping track when I started this. Yes, if you aren't aware, thank you for the charity call because I don't think, wow, words are hard. I don't know how much Nightbot's doing because I've broken everything tonight. But for those of you that don't know, I have joined others from Team Cypher and beyond. We've been fundraising the past week plus, and will, for some of us, continue on for a little bit longer to aid organizations that are doing work in Gaza and around everything going on, or the Gaza area and Palestine. Just with everything happening there, there's so much need for those organizations. The Lead specifically are supporting Palestinian Children's Relief Fund, who are doing a lot of work there beyond what they do in any normal year. And I know that I believe earlier today that the team goal broke $10,000, so well done, everyone. But yes, so there's that. So back to this. Anyways, and then pages. So like this information evolves over time. Whereas I figure out like what do I actually want to track. I do like format. I don't know if I care as much about published, but it's interesting for me to look at like how much am I reading older books versus newer books. And then, you know, is it something I track? Cause like for some of the mangas, like some of these they're in Kindle Unlimited, which I do subscribe to, so they're free. And I might like read a bunch of them in one go just cause. So I kind of mark up like, oh, was that in my like digital record or not? And then pages and things. So I'm like, you can see first page was just like adding things and started making use of different washi tapes. Sometimes I'm just drawing the lines and starting to add a little bit more color. So we're going to do some math, y'all. Hey, listen, every little bit helps. And also, please do not feel, my alerts are broken, so I apologize, but thank you for that donation. Because again, I've broken everything. As mentioned, if you weren't already aware, I've broken everything. I keep hearing the sound effects that are elsewhere. And it's, and I missed an hour ago a $25. I apologize, everyone. I can't read from this distance because everything's so tiny on my screen. And then my alerts are broken. So shout out to, the anonymous donation for $25 a little bit earlier this evening. I do apologize. I'm apparently complete and utter technology disaster. And thank you for the $10 donation as well. Listen, I think that there's a lot of ways in which, I hate to say regardless, because I don't want to turn this into a politics discussion, but there's a lot to be said about just the number of innocent lives that are being impacted by it, and the good that can be done, considering all of the challenges with providing humanitarian aid and stuff. So there's obviously donating to these aid organizations, and every little bit is supporting them, so thank you for that. But there's also things like, you know, calling your reps and making your voice heard in support of a ceasefire. It's educating yourself on the situation and the ways in which you can help support collective action, things of this nature. So it's not simply or solely limited to monetary giving. So I always encourage everyone that there are a number of resources in which you can provide support to events around the world, not just this, but obviously specifically this right now. So thank you so much for the donations. Again, every little bit is doing good for people who need it. Is really all I can say about it. So I got distracted by how I broke everything, and now I feel bad that I've missed donations. Oh, well, crap, y'all. I apologize, everyone. The other thing is I made an incentive where, like, you could choose We can blame Nightbot for everything. Also, I promised Susie we'll get her head pads. She is passed out in the other room right now. She went to daycare today, and then she was very angry with me when I picked her up at daycare. We went home. Yeah, it's always fun. You can blame Nightbot for everything. This feels appropriate. Well, this is part of, like, I broke my alerts, so therefore, and I was like, I'm sure my alerts will be fine. Promptly realizes my alerts are not fine. So, I'm sorry everybody in advance, I'll try my best. But yeah, I realized I made an incentive where you could, select and I would, like, mail a postcard. But apparently you have to make the incentive and then you have to turn it on. So this whole time I'm like, yeah, there's an incentive. If you donate $5, I'll mail you a postcard or a greeting card. I have a mix of a million things here. That wasn't on the whole time. So, like, anybody who donated, if you want that, feel free to DM me separately. Sorry. Apparently I fail at a lot of things and not just breaking my technology. Alright, so first things we're going to do is we're going to read, we're going to, and as I said here, going back to my how the system is set up. Besides the information I provide about the book and the title, what have you can see for a couple of these, I'm bucketing like multiple volumes together. Like, hey, I read One Punch Man volume 26 and 27 together. And then this isn't really, I'm not writing a summary of the book or a recap or anything. I'm kind of just writing like my thoughts and feelings about it. Like, here's an example. I finally read this book that I've had for forever, about Florida pirates from the southern Gulf Coast to the Keys and beyond. And like my thoughts here is this book was a journey. A lot of opinions if that's how I start my thoughts. A lot of interesting facts that could have been better organized. It reinforces the importance of good editors. They did list a lot of their references and sources, so it was a very fast read. So I read this book in basically 2 days while I was sitting around at jury. So it wasn't like a slog so much as the order was a little all over the place in terms of how the information was organized, and that made it a little confusing. So an outline for the info in each chapter, more than the chapter progression itself, could have been better, and overall, not too bad a read, especially since it was so fast. So, like, this isn't really, I'm not giving a recap, I'm not digging into the specifics of what happened in the book or anything, I'm just more thinking about, like, well, how did I feel? What did I think of it? What have you? If I wanted other people to read this, I might include something like, would I recommend this book, sort of thing. And, like, this is one where I'm like, it's a short read, so you could read it, and it has a lot of references, to where they got their information, but, like, it's organized badly. So that's sort of like, it's a little bit of a learning, and as you can see, like, as I got more supplies, as I kind of figured out better words, like, I stopped saying start and finish, and I'm just saying finish. You know, I'm filling things out a little bit better. So we're gonna put in, so for the books finished, I'm gonna stick to 10, despite in some cases I'm saying, hey, I read 2 volumes of something. But we're gonna add together all of our pages, 384, plus 362, plus 205, plus 128, 12, 6, 235, 1337. That's because that was like 7 volumes of mangas right there. Alright, so if we go back, I'm going to do it in pencil and I'll probably fill it in with prettier colors. Actually, we're just going to do fun colors to begin with. So I read, we're going to say 10 books. We read 319 pages. 2 were rereads, so 8 were new. Haha, for us, 0 did not read, so 0 library. Oops. And then let's go back to our book spot, because now I've forgotten. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Only 9. So I know some people use this to kind of like get an idea of what their habits are over the course of the year. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to do all of that. But what I am going to do, now this is going to be a little funky, because again, I kind of did this a little backwards in some cases, but I'm actually going to wrap up and we will do this here, which is rather than having a kind of like stats page for the beginning of the month, we are going to do this at the end of the month. Now. I think we're going to go with you. Now, in some cases, I did take a ruler so that everything would be about the same. But you know what? We're gonna eyeball this one. So I'm gonna use my thinner washi tape to give me a divider. We're gonna use the same blue. Actually, no, we're gonna use the same green that we used for January here in the chart for our January beating your cat. Woohoo! One thing to be conscious of, and you can kind of see it here in this spot right here, is different washi tape, or not all washi tape work well depending on what type of markers or pens you use. Some do better with oil, some do better with water-based. So just something to keep in mind. So like these Tombows are water-based, and those I found have generally not done as well with most of the washi that I own. So that's why I use these more as dividers than necessarily as something to write on. All right, so we're gonna do some of our paler colors here for fun, and we're gonna blend. So we read the other thing is you should not do what I'm doing, which is that I didn't let that dry entirely before we wrote on it, and so it's bleeding a little bit on the edges. We did 10 books for 1,500 pages, which will be, oh, actually this is 8 new, 2 rereads, and then we will do, I don't remember what color I just used. It was not this one. Well done, us. We're going to give this a dry just a little bit more. So something interesting, like there's a lot of ways that people build tables and charts and what have you when they do this sort of thing. Because if we went and looked, so the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 8th, the 11th, the 20th, the 20th, the 22nd. So, like, they might write out the numbers. Like, we're going to just try a couple different things. If I was smart, I would have actually looked this up in advance to say, like, what are some of the ones I've seen that I really liked and I would like to replicate here. But guess what? I did not do that. So we're kind of just going to make it up as we go here, y'all. Actually, wait. Here's what we're gonna do. This is my 5. Actually. Swap. Here's my 8. Super thin. That is not what I want to do this time. Ha! Deal. So what I'm going to do here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. There we go. So we are only going to use our... I did not do these in a straight line. But guess what? Nobody but me cares. Here. To here. So then, just for fun, we're now going to use our mix of colors at you. Yo. This side. So what did I say the dates were? 2, 3, 4, and 8. So 2, 3, 4, 8, 11, 20, and then 22. So, now that I've done this whole convoluted thing, but y'all can sort of see here, if we look at the course of the month, how much reading, when did I complete books? This is completing books, because I'm not good at actually tracking. Sorry, hit the mic, sorry if that was loud. I'm not actually good at tracking the days that I read, so much as I am just tracking when I completed books. So when we look at the course of like, hey, I took a lot longer to complete books later on in the month. That's partially because a lot was going on, I was doing other things, what have you. I have multiple books still in progress, so maybe I'll have better luck in February. Alright, so we said 10 books read for, what was it? 3,319 pages. And then 9 books bought because I lack self-control. So like some people will actually use this and they'll fill it out as we go in the course of the month, and they'll track the number of days that they read. So they'll like fill in a color by day read, what have you. They might do blocks where it's like, okay, how many books did I complete per day, what have you. There's a little bit more to go to. So I think it's, first off, my choice of going with the green and then using my tan colors here was a choice. But then, and it's like, I didn't even have to color these. Maybe I could have used this washi tape, what have you. But so, it's, you know, the reality is, I've been doing a lot of other things in the evening these weeks, and I haven't read as much. Or like, hey, maybe I was reading, I'm sitting here because I'm not sure because I'm blanking out, but maybe I was reading fan fiction instead of books. That's a possibility. Maybe I was browsing articles, kind of news articles, and that's where I spent my time for the month, or for the later parts. So in this case, we're going to kind of do I will say, props to me, I still read more than I bought, so that's a win. Hey Prax, welcome in. I was talking about you earlier, and I forget why. Oh, I know why. I do not have, I'm going to do this correctly this time. Aha! Yeah! Let me it's because I have a page that's recommended by friends, and I was joking about how I'm pretty sure that's mostly going to be filled by you. Actually, you know what I want to do? Where did I put this washi? So once again, like, this is a little bit experimentation of, like, what are the things I think I would want to put in a, you know, what are the numbers for the month? This is my space-themed, perforated, washi tapes. For which I'm going to say I read more than I bought. So this is an example where, like, this is probably not the best pin. Does it specify? Well, it's a fine line marker. Fine line marker. Does not specify, so I didn't write as well on that, but that's fine. It's still readable. I read more than I bought. Well done, me. I also want to use I like these little kind of watercolor I almost said bubbles, but they're circles technically. I just find them like a nice little visual accent. Could have just lit it. Listen, you've already helped add a bunch of books to my list, and it's really just on me to get some more reading done. So some of these are more like, it's decorative. I'm trying to add some other things in here, but so I like the idea of trying to mark out, like, how often. So I finished a lot more. Obviously, like, this was the very beginning of the year. There wasn't as much going on the first couple of days, so I could read a lot more, and then it got a little spaced out. I was finishing books around when I was on jury duty, so a little bit easier, and then it's just, life happened. I don't know how I feel about this song, so we're gonna skip it. So yeah, I am a little more than halfway through Guardian Prax, so still, like, chipping away at it little by little. And I have a bunch else that I will probably be trying to get into and get reading then. So that'll be something as I actually look at my my February goals. So not too much here. I would like to, obviously there's a giant blank here. I'm probably going to add more to this page, but I want to do a little bit of looking up what else, what I've seen in other people's kind of month in review or month recaps. And then I think, for this one, probably I'm going to stick to a similar structure where I will do my little little notes and thoughts per each book that I read, and then at the end of the month I'll do a page. So it won't be quite as necessarily structured as maybe as it could have been, or as some other pages were, what have you, but I'd say I don't feel too bad about how I'm doing here. Really. Like, I'm reading books and documenting it in a way that I'm enjoying, and I get to use up now all of these pretty things that I bought for myself that are taking up space. At the end of the day, it's all about what brings you joy. Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, I enjoy reading, but I also enjoy, like, the time and things that I get to put into stuff like this. And figure out ways to be a little bit more creative and visually interesting in my spreads. Actually, me confused. I'm like, where did I just put everything? Because as we go back and we, just as a quick reminder from our planner for the year, anything that brings you joy is never a waste of time. I will also say anything that brings you joy is never a waste of time or money, though of course please do it within your means. I will say I stumbled across a video while I was on YouTube. Like I was just, it was on not a playlist, but like it feeds you kind of like a recommended what's next. And it was one for I was in a journaling, thing, and it was somebody being like, budgeting for journaling so that you're not overspending on supplies. And I was like, oh, this is such a mood, especially to me right now, considering what I have been spending to find this gigantic supply of all the things. I still have some more stickers and washi tape coming in. There's 2 from an order I put in a couple weeks ago that were just a little delayed getting out. But that is, full disclosure, all I've ordered so far. One, I have not ordered any stamps, so despite the fact that I think stamps would also be interesting, I've not done that, nor have I fallen down the black hole of, what is it, ephemera, I don't know how to say the word, but it's basically using, like, paper and miscellaneous other things to, because I'm like, okay, well then I need to be able to store a whole bunch of random, like, paper and things like that. And then I'm gonna need the glue for it, which, like, the only thing I have right now is a hot glue gun and what have you. So, we're gonna pencil in some of the things we just talked about. I have a list somewhere, so I need to figure out where I wrote it down, what were the things I wanted for, February. So, you want to read? Actually, let's be smart about this. But anyways, I hope you all are doing well this evening. I thank you all for hanging out with me. This was an impromptu stream. We're actually going to finish shortly, because I did not plan to go this long, but then I had too much fun doing things and talking about it to you all. So we're going to say I want to read 5 books, finish 2 games, finish 2 projects. This is not the way I'm going to put it, but figure out the Dremel. I'm going to write every day, which, like, I'm doing a good job of it. Because you know what? When it comes to writing, it does not have to be, I don't have to be, like, writing a book or something like that. All of this writing that I've been doing in my planner absolutely counts as writing. This all will count. So even if all I do is put in my thoughts for the day, I wrote. I will say one thing that I find, this is related but not related but interesting. I have this washi tape, which I really like this kind of ribbony design, but my issue with it is that because there's no back, like it's basically sticky from the front. If I want to like trim and cut things, it's a little bit of a pain. Versus the ones from these ones from the washi tape shop. We'll grab one of them. We'll use the coffee one as an example. Despite what it looks like, while they are stickers and sticky, they do actually have a backing, so I can literally take scissors to it. It doesn't have to be an X-Acto or anything like that. And I will, and it's just a little bit easier, so I do like this format. So, my coffee thing. Coffee. So, I will say, and I'm also happy to talk about where I purchased my variety of supplies, and some I like better than others. You can definitely tell the difference in quality between some of the washi tapes, between some of the ones I bought earlier and like stuff I got from the washi tape shop, which was really good. I would say this like random pack that I got, they're not bad washi, but they're definitely like a thinner rice paper, and so I would say like, I don't want to say they're lower quality, but I can tell the difference between those and some of these that are more like stickery like than necessarily rice papery, which might be one of the differences. I'm happy to talk about my sticker game. Real quick, first off, Liliara Designs on Etsy has these fun little self-care Pokemon. Snorlax, take a break. But my favorite might be the Magikarp. Doing my best. Focus on myself background, focus on Magikarp. No. So that's Liliara Designs on Etsy. We have the Lovable shop, which is website and Etsy shop. Has a whole variety of stickers. So this one's a vinyl sticker. I've been kind of cheating and putting some of my vinyl stickers into my planner, and they don't need to be. And then I bought like a little collection of gemstones, like magic gemstones, in beakers and bottles and things. Oh! I also bought a selection of flowers and things similarly, and then I got a couple little extra 3D stickers to go with it. So that is, magical potion stickers. That's what they are. There are titles here. I'm just bad at reading. So I'm like, these look like, so that was magical potion stickers. This is mystical flower stickers. These were a mix of little freebies I got with my order. Some fun ones. Our little cat ghost friend. These fun little ones, defense. So I threw them also. Because I have to share these with everyone. So that was Lovable's shop. I'm also happy to share links. At some point I might do a blog post about all of the many things that I've purchased. So that's Lovable's shop. And then these stickers and these stickers, the dots, and then this selection of these little thin ones I got from Little Corner Supplies through Etsy. Can't wait to use these. These are going to be glorious. These are flower stickers too, like holographic. I'm so excited about them. These I picked up from Arisha. Add magic to taste. A lizard duck piece. I'm not really sure what this is, but it amuses me. So winning. And then I do appreciate that the Washi Tape Shop, their little card with info and stuff like that, actually has peelable stickers and things on it as well. So you get some little extra freebies with your order. I will say, so for all of the Etsy shops, I did pick places because you can filter by location. So I was picking shops in the US. Washi Tape Shop, I think, has their Toronto location, but mine shipped from China, so I will say that. But I do feel like the quality of their washi is fantastic, and I got mine in 6 days. Is about how long it took for everything. I'm happy to. I actually saved like little info at the end of each roll that says what the roll was. So, well, obviously I have an email record. I can also put it in here to be able. So I haven't gotten to using all of these yet, as I kind of figure out like thematically what I want each day to be. Also, appropriate for everyone here. I want to pull this one out. Because this is like a fun little thing. Know your worth, then add tax. Coming for all of us. So anyways, basically I have a million washi tape, I have a whole bunch of stickers. These pins and highlighters and markers and things I all had before, except for the only exception is I did buy a little 4-pack of the Sakura Pigma Micron pins and brushes. It's like a 4-pack in sepia, just because I wanted that brown color tone for like if I wanted to do coffee and things. It just felt weird for me to do everything in these types of tones and then be writing in a black pen. So because I'm weird like that, I bought sepia colors. So like, don't judge me, but also feel free to judge me. Like, it's totally fine. So I think we're gonna wrap up here. I did not get absolutely everything done, but I wasn't kind of expecting to. So I got a good portion done. We did a good amount of January wrap up. I have a couple more things to do across both the planner and the reading journal. The reading journal is just going to be doing more research on what people put in their like month recaps and filling it out myself. And then doing a little bit more February wrap. Besides sewing classes, I do not have a ton. Oh, slated for this month. Definitely March is going to be much busier, PAXIs, what have you. So we're going to try and like knock some stuff out. So thank you all. I appreciate you hanging out while I was basically talking at you while I did all these things. I'm going to go make some tea because I'm going to be playing Detective Pikachu Returns more tomorrow night. And that also involves a lot of talking, and my throat hates that for me. So a couple of things. Let me switch us over to, I'm going to swap us over to just chatting for the moment, just to wrap up. We'll go to stream is ending in just a second. So first off, I streamed much longer than I originally planned to, so oops, but also thank you all for hanging out. Sorry that I apparently broke a whole bunch of my stream here on my desktop, so I'm gonna attempt to get that figured out. I have a list of things that I need to get reset up, including StreamerBot, fixing my alerts, because all of those are broken, adding in a command to point to Tech Friday, to the Tech Friday with DC. Once again, I am, once again, I am now actually going to be uploading stuff to my YouTube, and one of the things that I decided to do, just as well, is that, I actually made a playlist. I made a playlist on the channel that's events, panels, one-shots, appearances, that I've been going and finding everybody else's. So the stuff on Praxis channel from the Charity of Vania stream beginning of last year. The various one-shots that I've done with Cypher here at events and things and panels. The Tech Friday with DC, and I've been adding all of those to the playlist so that there's kind of a one-stop shop to go find things that I've taken part in. I think the only one I'm missing right now is Opera Geek's Stream to End in S. No, actually, was that one? Maybe I'm forgetting something. I don't remember now. No, I was only a viewer. I was not at any of those. So guess what? I got everything there. But the point being, feel free to share. I don't know, what is it? You have to have like 100 subs before to let you have a custom URL on YouTube. So like that's never going to happen. But in the meantime, I am going ahead and slowly going to be uploading my VODs. The 5 VODs from Zelda in December are all there. Detective Pikachu will start going up over the next couple days once I finish touching those up, and then I'll be filling in everything else from about mid-December on, as I have time to upload, make thumbnails, write titles, write descriptions, and go from there. What have you. So that'll be ongoing and just someplace to leave VODs. Oh, they did? Okay, I'll have to do that because I was like, I just have this like really long channel ID thing. So I might ping you separately about that. Because I wasn't sure. I was like, can I change this? So anyways, so YouTube, but the point of all of that is I have a playlist with my appearances, and I've already put into that playlist the Tech Friday, VOD from DC's channel. So you can find it there, despite the fact that I do not have a plan set up. So back here tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern to continue, maybe finish, but probably continue Detective Pikachu Returns. If you're looking for something before that, we usually start out the night hanging out in Painting Pirates stream, which kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern for All Influencer Wrestling. So I'm usually there for like 20 minutes and then lurking for a while, and then it's stream time. Reminder that Painting Pirate and I will both be appearing once again on Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern on Praxagora Euphoria's channel to continue our misadventures in space with Mass Effect. Heavy emphasis on misadventures in space, considering what's happened so far. And then just as a quick reminder, for the month of February, I am taking a sewing class starting next week on Thursday evenings, so we will not be doing Thursday streams for February. We will be doing Monday, Wednesday, with the occasional random other stream thrown in, depending on where we're at. My goal is absolutely to get Detective Pikachu Returns finished, and then probably going to be chugging my way through a variety of indies and other games that I have potentially on PC. I do have Bimba also on Switch, so we'll be moving back and forth between all of those with intermittent crafty streams. I don't know what homework for this sewing class is going to look like, if there'll be a lot of out-of-class work or not. So it's possible that we'll do like a gaming stream each week and then a sewing stream each week, depending on how that goes. So a little bit of flexibility there as I figure out what it will look like for class. I would like to kind of wrap up and get a couple other things done as well. I think I'm going to do some crochet stuff. That might be off stream. Maybe dice making. Still going to figure out. As you all can see, I had to clear off this table. And both of the sewing machines are on the floor right now. Because I put stuff in their shelves and so they didn't know where to go. So that I could make space for journaling bits. So, and you're absolutely right, DC. You might need... I am happy to share links to anything that I looked at. There are, of course, stationery and other supplies you can go to. I was just looking for fun, or attempting, I didn't manage it with everywhere, but attempting as best I could to purchase from independent artists on Etsy. So a number of my stickers and things and some more that I have coming in are, hey, they said I make these myself, or I handfall them, and that's what I was looking to get for my stickers and my washi. And then there's just some general ones which clearly aren't, but are really good quality. So, sometimes I feel like that. So we are actually going to swap over to streams ending now. I do not normally stream on Wednesdays, so I don't know if there's even anybody online for us to raid to. Once again, I want to give a shout out, thanks to Springleaf for getting to have a, stream streak. Shout out to Dean Jesse here for the raid, Zalem for the resub, and also the, donation as well. Thank you so much for that. Thank you to our anonymous donator who also donated. We're at 270 grays, and I am going to continue to leave, these hunters are up for, another week or two at least. And let's go take a look. Oh, Kawaii Guy is, playing Pokemon Unite. Let's go there. Alright. So, and also, I'm going to assume, since nobody was complaining, I muted you, I swear, since nobody was complaining about, actually no, hold on. Is D&D Jordan Lee still live? Yes, D&D Jordan Lee is still live and still streaming Baldur's Gate 3, also in support of PCRF, so we're actually gonna go there. But I will say, since nobody is currently complaining or did not complain all stream about audio, I'm gonna assume that the wireless mic did great. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. You all would tell me if that was not the case. So we are going to wrap up here. As a quick reminder, our recall is #LuckyRaid with a Susie emote or any other higher below emote if you are not a subscriber, which is more than fine. No judgment. We're going to go join D&D Journey, who is also fundraising for the PCRF and playing Baldur's Gate 3 right now. They are good people, so please be kind as we head on over there. There's lots of stream stuff and other games in the area. So as always, everyone, please be safe, be healthy, be cracking, happy gaming, and I will hopefully see you back here tomorrow night for more Pikachu returns.